Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our online open house. I hope you found the URL okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our online open house.
And of course,
I
as
hope you
echo.
found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open
and
house.
of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open house.
and of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open
and
house.
of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open house.
and of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open house.
and of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open house.
and of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our online open house.
And of course,
I
as
hope you
echo.
found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open
and
house.
of course,
I
as
hope
echo.
you found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone.
Christian.
Thank you for joining our
Really
online
appreciate
open
and
house.
of course,
I
as
hope you
echo.
found the URL
Hello,
okay.
G.
Hello, everyone. Do this. Okay. Um, so I don't know if we have Karim with us. Let's go ahead
Yep, I'm
and get
here,
started.
Ludo. I can hear you now.
Um, so what is Nucamp? Nucamp is the most affordable local and online and weekend bootcamp. Our formula is really a hybrid formula with online learning during the week and in-person meetings and workshops on Saturdays. Uh, we are a for-profit company, but we also come up with a social mission that is to help all aspiring developers, and you're probably one of those, to really get into the digital economy and become a web developer. And as you may have realized, we are also available in your local community where many other coding bootcamps, unfortunately, are not. Our goal is to offer really everyone a quality web development education for those who cannot afford it today. And it's either in big cities like in our area in Seattle, but also in smaller cities like Boise, Idaho, where I know Karim is going to this weekend. So how do we do that? Well, and how did we actually come up with Nucamp in terms of approach to learning to code? The very first idea that really, the very first area of development is really the online bootcamp, where we see most of our students actually having tried online learning and really appreciating the flexibility and the affordability of online bootcamps. However, we also see many of them not really being able to go to the end of that experience. It's actually a data point that is known in the industry that only a few, and by that I mean 3% of people who try to learn coding online are actually able to go to the end. And that's mainly because even though you're learning and you're probably part of thousands of people that are doing the same, you're very much alone and lack support to actually stay committed, help you when you get stuck for several weeks in a row or even months in rows, like it's often the case. On the other hand of the spectrum, what we find is traditional bootcamp offer great education and a fantastic, quite often, education experience, but they come with their own trade-offs. One of them being that you may not have a traditional bootcamp in your city. And by traditional, I mean what we call the big five coding bootcamps. That's Flatiron, Galvanize, Coding Dojo, or other of that caliber that are really focusing on full-time education in campus with full-time instructors. And oftentimes for the people who are seeking education while wanting to transition jobs, that's a very risky and challenging proposal to have to quit your job, find the financing to pay for the education, even if it's deferred financing, and also actually find the coding bootcamp in your city, because as I said, quite often they're not where you live. And so with that in mind, we really came up with Nucamp, and it's been 2 to 3 years ago now that we've developed that hybrid model. By hybrid, we mean that we bring the best of online learning and the best of traditional bootcamps in terms of support. So you don't have to quit your job. We offer an online experience during the week, yet with a very well-defined structure so that you know exactly what you're supposed to do on a weekly basis. And you can do that at any time during the day. However, we ask you to spend at least 1 to 3 hours a day. And then on the weekends, you are meeting in person in your city with 12 other students that are in your classroom and your instructor who's dedicated to your classroom as well. So the ratio is very favorable. That's 1 to 12 ratio. And with that, we really offer, as I said, kind of the best of both worlds. It's available to you, it's flexible, it's affordable, and it doesn't come with any of the risks involved in figuring out an alternative. So as I said, we've been around for 2 to 3 years. The first year actually was really refining our curriculum, our approach, really refining those elements of offering online and in person together. And then for the last 2 years, we've actually implemented and invited students in the state of Washington to take our programs and find new jobs as the end. So we've been in 5 cities in Seattle for the last 2 years. We started in Tacoma, which is south of Seattle, and we went to Spokane, Bellingham, Everett, and then finally in Seattle. And with that, we've really ironed out our methodology. We've delivered 50 bootcamps so far, 200 plus Saturday workshops, and we've hired overall 50 instructors in the state of Washington. And we are now at a stage where we are actually planning to come to your city. If you're here with us, it's likely because you've seen us online, engaging in your community and planning to open in your location on the 5th of August. So we're hiring instructors in your community, and we're closing partnership deals with what we call local workshop locations, which quite often are co-working spaces. I hope the echo went away. If you still hear echo as I read online, if you reload the page, that may actually work. I hope it went away though.
Hey, Ludo, can you hear me now?
We offer 3 bootcamps, really tailored to all levels of education. The very first bootcamp is a 4-week one, touching on the web development fundamentals. We invite anyone who's a true beginner to start there. The front-end web and mobile development bootcamp is really tailored to individuals who want to blend coding and creativity, individuals who feel that you are pretty much able to develop really nice experiences and want to actually focus on that, the end user experience of a website. And then the full stack web and mobile development stack, which really brings on and adds on to front-end web and mobile development, the back-end aspect of it, which really helps you deploy from A to Z, develop and deploy from A to Z an application that not only looks good, but also can handle transactions, can handle user information. can handle payments and things like that. So let me get you into the challenges here. Karim is at the airport, and there's actually an 8 to 10 seconds delay between me talking and you guys hearing it. So we didn't plan for that, and it's kind of tricky now to actually get in sync without having an 8-second delay. Anyway, so I'm actually seeing a question here. I'll actually take it now, and otherwise we'll spend more time, and we'll actually take the bet to make the 8-second delay after this formal presentation. Both front-end web development and full-stack web development will make you job ready for different types of job, and that's an answer to Greg's question here. The front-end web development lasts 17 weeks. The full stack lasts 22 weeks. It's one module difference. I'll actually get to that in a minute. And as I said, front-end is mostly for individuals who have an artistic vibe and really want to express their passion and talent in building beautiful experiences. Full stack types of role are for people who love coding but don't feel like they have that artistic vibe, and maybe don't think they actually are very good at creating user experiences, and will rather spend their energy and passion coding on the front end and the back end as well. I myself, I'm more of a full stack developer. I don't feel like I'm great at great user experiences. And oftentimes what that leads you to work with someone who's a great web designer. Let me move on to the curriculum format and the logistics. Our boot camps are actually made of 5 separate modules or courses that are 4 to 5 weeks long. It's a weekly rhythm. So every week we unlock new content. You are expected to learn every day from Saturday to Saturday, I will say, for 1 to 3 hours. And then you have on Saturday, as I mentioned, a 4-hour workshop. During the week, you spend time on video lectures, you spend time on exercises, you spend time working on your project portfolio, additional exploration. You get support from your instructor during the week as well, online support. And typically, we find that students do that learning pretty much when they can squeeze it into their busy schedule. So there's no set time during which you should be online, for example. However, a big requirement and something to really realize is enrolling in the front end of full stack bootcamp means that this is going to be a life-changing experience that's going to impact your daily routine. And you really have to internalize the fact that for 17 weeks or 22 weeks, your life is going to change. How you engage with your friends and family is going to change. Your availability is going to change because you're going to have to set aside 1 to 3 hours everyday learning. We help you with that. That's the big difference between what we offer and traditional online learning, I will say, is we really offer you that structure. We offer you that support. We're going to check on you if we feel like you're behind. So we're going to be that motivation behind you. But that doesn't remove the need for you to make plans for it and seek the support of the people that are around you as well, your family, your friends. That will be very important to be successful. As I said, we have workshop locations across the cities where we open. This is an example of a workshop location. It's Impact Hub in Seattle. It's a co-working space. And we are lucky enough to have a great relationship with Impact Hub. They share our social mission. And so we are able to get in a beautiful space, spacious place as well on Saturdays for our instructors and you as students. There's also opportunities for you as students to extend the membership, get a membership over there, and kind of prepare you for that entrepreneurship life if you want. It's a great environment anyway to kind of learn with one another. Let me move on to the full curriculum. which really goes in depth into those 3 bootcamps that I mentioned. And what you can see right off the bat is those 3 bootcamps really are made of a total of 5 modules. So it's pretty straightforward. And yet that's really what is needed today to help you change careers. The very first module, the web fundamentals, is the first bootcamp. That's the introduction for for beginners. And it's basically teaching you the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Speaking of JavaScript, the whole curriculum is really teaching you JavaScript in all its forms. The benefit of JavaScript is it's been elected for the 6th year in a row now, the #1 programming language. And it's also a language that you will use on the front end, on a mobile app, or on the back end as well. So it's very pervasive across. So learning JavaScript really opens the door to everything that you need to know from front end to back end. So this is really one of the reasons why we've selected that one. So moving on from web development fundamentals, the next module that you will start with for either the full stack bootcamp or the front end bootcamp is Bootstrap. And Bootstrap has been around for several years now, developed first by Twitter. And this is really a very convenient framework to develop what we call responsive website. Now, what is responsive? Well, it's very simple. It's a website that you can develop once and will look good on a PC, on a Mac, on a tablet, on a phone without you having to do any changes. So it will really adapt to the screen size pretty much. Now, it's also quite limited to that. So that's why the next module is the #1 JavaScript framework now developed this time by Facebook, and it's called React. React leverages Bootstrap. So when you learn Bootstrap, you'll actually use it as well in React, but it really adds everything that's around managing data, managing processes, being dynamic, meaning if you ask a user to log in, you'll have access to that user information. You can manage a cart, a shopping cart. You can display products. So pretty much everything that requires data and workflows and transactions, you will want React. You would not want to do that on Bootstrap. And so that's a very important module right there. It's 6 weeks long. It's one of the most challenging modules that we have to offer as well. It's kind of the module of hell, if you want, bootcamp. However, if you are successful with it, if you go through that hump of very intense learning, then React Native, which is the next module, will feel actually quite easy. React Native kind of builds on top of React, so everything you've learned before will apply. And what it really allows you to do is a little bit magically transform your code, which was until then a website, into a mobile application. I mean a real mobile application, something that you're going to be able to package, submit to Apple or Google, and have actually people download from the Apple Store or Google Play. So think about it, right? You will have built a website and suddenly that is responsive, right? So can already work on a mobile device. And then suddenly you'll be able to turn that mobile website into an application, a mobile application. So very powerful as well. And that will be actually the end of front end. And you can understand why it is. Everything up until now is really focused on the user experience, what you have in front of you, the mobile device, a PC, a tablet, a Mac. But you haven't yet really managed all the server side, the backend side, which is around really storing the data, securing the data, managing user authentication, and things like that. And that's exactly what the last module is about. Node.js, Express, and MongoDB. You really, with that being part of full stack, you'll touch on handling a database, storing, retrieving data from the database, managing user authentication. For example, allowing a user to log in on Google and Facebook and then be recognized on your website. If you went to www.nucamp.co, you will have recognized that type of mechanism where you actually don't need to create an account. You can just log in using your Google or Facebook credentials and you're done. So that's the kind of things that we're talking about in the last module. Let me look at the questions right here. All right, I'll take some time to actually answer them. Rich and Luke, I've seen them, and we'll answer them after the end of this formal presentation that should be in the next 10 minutes. The portfolio projects are very important as well. Throughout the bootcamp, you are going to be following what we call a learning project. So every student will follow the same learning project that you will build upon each module, right? But on top of that, we're going to really assist you to come up with your original project, something that you're going to be able to showcase in front of an interviewer. And with that, you're actually going to do 2 or 3 revisions of that project. The very first version is going to be with Bootstrap. You're going to pretty much build a website that's going to be responsive. And then you're going to pretty much throw it away. You've learned that, and you're going to rebuild it with React. There's so many different ways of doing it with React that you're better off actually starting from scratch, still thinking about the designs that you've put in place, but you're going to actually rebuild it with React, and this time add interaction, forms, anything that's really dynamic that requires managing data. And then you have a choice. You can either throw it away again and redo it with React Native, or just continue with React, because at the end of the day, then what you will want to do, especially if you're following the full stack bootcamp, is to bring everything together with the server side, meaning you'll have your React or React Native app or website, and then you'll have your data on Node.js, Express, and MongoDB, and together you will have actually a full-fledged product that you could even go to business with, I would say, almost. So that's very much why portfolio projects are so important. It's because it's going to really help you learn the technology in a different context, with many more things that you're going to have to discover by yourself, with the support of your group and with the support of your instructor. So you probably have seen that on your community page on www.nucamp.co. This is our bootcamp schedule. We're starting, as I said, on August 5th with the web development fundamentals. The next bootcamp is on September 9th. It's going to be actually the same one. So if you miss August 5th, you'll be able to join September 9th. Some of you may be on vacation in August, so we kind of give you 2 opportunities to start, especially if you're a beginner. And then the front-end and full-stack bootcamps are both going to start on October 7th in your location. Something to keep in mind is October 7th is the start date for full-stack and front-end, and the next one will then be on January 27th. We typically want to start every 2 months, but given the vacations, December, the next one will then be on January 27th. So if you miss it, it's not too bad, but if you really want to get going, I will recommend that you do not miss the October 7th date, because then it's really 3 months later that you'll be able to pick it up again. And as I said, after that, we'll be on a 2-month cycle. What we wanted to share next really is what our students in Washington State have shared with us. Obviously, I can talk about it for a long time. I can tell you how great we are, but really at the end of the day, you want to have an honest opinion from our students. And you can do that on course reports or switch up 2 websites that are kind of the index and the directory for our industry. I also thought what I will do is kind of share with you the testimonial from Geneva and Sergey, who are in Marysville, Everett. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally work. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally work. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to actually play that video now, and it should normally works.
works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that video now, and it truly really works. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. So I'm going to share. I can play that.
All right, Mario, can you hear me? Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, you guys hear me now? Damn. All right, so yeah, sorry for that. So we're using Zoom. It's pretty cool until you're trying to do fancy stuff with it and kind of breaks. Okay, good. All right, so Christian, thank you for staying online. Mario, Luke as well. Let me actually resume with the questions. I don't know if you heard any of my answers before. Just so you know, we had a well-functioning webcast yesterday, actually 2 days ago, that you can find on our YouTube channel. So hopefully we'll be able to answer some of those questions then. But I'm ready now for your questions. So Mario, can you please write down your question and I'll be happy to help answer it. Anyone else as well? I'll be looking at the chat right now. And hopefully, yeah, we'll have an online conversation. Oh, wow. Luke, thank you for the feedback. That's bad. Really apologies for that. All right. So let me know if you have any questions that I can help answer. Karim is on the plane now. We were, the two of us, plus a few folks in the background helping us 2 days ago, and we couldn't bring everyone together. So that's kind of a bummer. All right. Okay, thanks for the questions, guys. So, so Mongo Express Node, so that's 4 weeks spent on that. It's a lot of concepts indeed in 4 weeks. The good news is you've been introduced to data structured throughout the previous modules. And even though during the previous modules you don't have a backend, we actually simulate a backend and you're managing data just like it was coming from a server. So you are introduced to that. But it's true that it's a lot of potential material. We spend a lot of time really explaining the fundamentals of REST APIs and how you get data from a server, how do you post data to a server, how do you update data. So we spend a lot of time on that. We actually spend quite a bit amount on MongoDB and Mongoose on structuring the data. by all means, it's an introduction. So you're not an expert at the end of the day, but you have a pretty good sense of how to make it work, and you're actually making it run on your own machine for a while. So it's actually pretty good and for the full stack bootcamp. The next question is, do you learn the same material with front-end as well as full stack? Only difference is the back-end module. Coolio, yes, it's absolutely right. Full stack is really front-end plus the back-end module. So some students are confused. They think they need to do both or register to both. No, you only need to register to one. You can even upgrade to full stack once you finish front-end if you want to. So the web development, Christian has a question. The web development fundamentals course is not mandatory for the rest of the courses. It's not mandatory. However, we strongly suggest you to take the test that I mentioned. That test is going to really help you decide what you need to do. It's going to tell you if you are above 85%, do you need, you're good. If you're above 85%, you can sign up to the front end or the full stack. If you're below 85% of good answers, then you should take the web development fundamental bootcamp. So Rich has a good point regarding interviewers being hardcore and picking you apart because you're newbies. Yes, and it's a matter of really what kind of jobs are you going after. We tell our students to actually not even try to get into a tech company like Facebook or Google or Microsoft. You're going to be teared apart, definitely. But there are a ton of other jobs that will welcome junior web developers. And really, at the end of the bootcamp, you are a junior web developer, and you should seek a job in traditional companies who have an IT shop. Those folks will be very more interested in helping a junior web developer start their career. You should get a job in a startup who's seeking junior web developer. A lot of our students actually also want to be freelance and just start on their own. You know, you register to a job board, and you can actually get contracts from over the US. So by all means, don't try at the end of the bootcamp to get into a high-tech, really well-known place. It's going to be discouraging for you. You will be better off getting your feet wet by starting as a junior web developer in a traditional company who's seeking developers. And then down the line, given your passion, given your skills, 3, 4, 5 years later, yeah, why not try to get into those big tech companies, but definitely not at first. Question from Luke about doing this course while being full-time. The point about very doable, it's only very doable if you accept that this is going to be life-changing for 4 to 5 months. And by that, I mean, and will actually help you get the support that you need, but you're going to have to talk to your family, to your friends, saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to go out on Saturday evenings. I'm not going to be available most Sundays. Every night, I'm going to have to set aside, maybe every morning, it depends on your work schedule, but really understanding early that the commitment for you is going to be to set aside time to learn. And as I said, we're going to actually give you the structure to do that. When you learn online on your own, it's very difficult to kind of put that rigor in place. We're going to help you. You're going to be part of a group of 12 people that are going to be local to your area. The instructor is going to be local to your area, and we're going to help you do that. But you'll have to do it. It's not that easy. You have to make the commitment to go through that life-changing experience during the bootcamp. And then, of course, that should lead to another life-changing moment, which is getting into the industry. The payment is not in full. It's actually in 4 or 5 times, which is actually something that I know our students appreciate a lot. So you will be able to contact your instructors during the week. Slack, email, direct messages. Pretty much everything is available to you. You can ask your instructor for his phone number as well. Yeah, going back to the payments. So the first payment is at registration. The second payment is the very first day of the bootcamp, and then every month after that until you complete the payment tuition. We have a 15% early bird discount as well that you will have access to if you register 2 weeks before the bootcamp starts. The pricing that you see online today is the early bird discount price. There's a question about job placement, companies and internship. We have a career development program that lasts 6 weeks at the end of the bootcamp. That really will help you iron out how to perfect your LinkedIn profile, how to build your resume, how to prepare for interviews, how to become social in the industry as well. But what students are telling us actually is they find their instructors as being a great help in getting into the industry locally. I didn't spend much time on that, but instructors are full-time in the industry and working with Nucamp on a part-time basis. So they're really doing that on the side because it's a passion of theirs, and they want to help the community. So because they're still in the industry, they're actually a great getaway to get into it. They can introduce you to other folks, they can mentor you, and they are really, really helpful from that standpoint. We are also starting to see people and other companies or organizations who are interested in a partnership. We are working through that. We don't have those partnerships in place just yet, but we really hope to actually establish that as we expand in the communities. All right, any more question? I'm going through the list now again. A lot of feedback on how to deliver a better YouTube experience, and I'm with you. It'll be fixed for the next ones. And by the way, we are also planning to have in-person meetup or open houses like this one. Once we actually have sessions and bootcamp started in your area, we'll have an opportunity to have you meet with the instructors and see how it's like. Obviously, since we're starting in August, we don't have that environment just ready yet. So great question about the job rate placement. We actually don't track it. And there's a few reasons for that. Well, first, we don't have gates at the entry of our bootcamp. We have a social mission, and we want to create a culture where we don't want to decide for you if you're going to be successful or not. And so we're not telling you, sorry, you haven't passed that test. You're not going to be able to register with us. As a result, we actually give a chance for students to experience if it's for them or not. And we see some students sticking with it. We see some students after 2 months saying, you know what, I realize it's not for me. And thank you guys. It was inexpensive and a great way to figuring that out. And they're not going to move forward with it. And so we are really, what we're saying is we are promising you skills. We do not promise jobs. And we also do not want to be in that cycle of having to compete with other companies who are advertising jobs and sometimes inflating those numbers. And we don't feel we have to do it. We don't want to actually mislead you. And so many of you will get jobs. We have great success stories of individuals getting jobs afterwards. And we have people who have decided not to pursue this field as well. And we just don't want to make that a make or break for our students. Yeah, thank you, Christian. So Luke, yes, every Saturday for 4 hours, you meet for two reasons. The first one is to go through the week of learning and make sure that if you have any question about that, you can ask them here and there with your instructor. And that lasts an hour. 3 hours is actually to work on an assignment. It is the end of the week assignment, and it's really closing the week with something that is a little bit more challenging than what you've experienced before that. It's also a graded assignment, so it's very important for you to complete that assignment, return it, and have it graded. Question from Jason, are there any companies that hire junior web developers without experience or a degree? Yes, it's all a matter of skills and passion. Actually, we know that there's going to be 1.2 million web developer / software engineering jobs that are going to be unfulfilled, 1.2 million by the year 2022, 3 years from now. So there's a huge need for web developers. And if you show passion and skill, meaning if you can show your GitHub profile with the portfolio projects, if you can show that you haven't stopped coding since the bootcamp, and if you show that you've really committed to this, you'll get a job. Hey, Mario, yes, looking forward to your question, Mario. Rich, great question about what if you do well, finish program, get a job, doing great, but we still need more in-depth training for specific components. It will kind of always be the case. If you're in your industry, you know that you're never done learning in this industry. And so you will always be online seeking to understand a new piece of technology, like how to host your environment or how to access a cloud service and all of that. Right now, our own curriculum is limited to the 5 modules that you've seen. So we may not be able to help with AWS, for example. But definitely what we're going to teach you as well is we're going to teach you how to learn and how to actually get after those new skills that you're going to need maybe later down the line. So hopefully once you are done with us, you'll be in a better place to actually continue to learn as well. Hey, Mario, what is your question? I'm looking forward to it. If you are bad in the assignment, you wouldn't be accepted into the web development one. It's a great question. So we reward commitment, passion, and effort. And so we're not going to ding you on an assignment if you've shown all that. If the assignment is not perfect and maybe it could not work, we're not going to ding you on it. We are, however, going to have a conversation with you as to what you want to do next. Again, our culture and mission is not to make decisions on your behalf. Our instructors actually are trained to have a conversation with you and be open and honest with where you stand with regard to the curriculum. Are you really behind? Should you take a break? Should you spend more time on one topic? And we will actually let you make those decisions. I have a few examples in mind where students couldn't really spend the time, were rushing through the content on Friday night, were not really doing great with the assignments, and still wanted to go to the next module, and were actually a little bit behind on payment as well. And I was at the time actually teaching, and I remember the conversation with that person saying, hey, why would you want to do that? You're going to pretty much waste your money if you really want to continue the way you've actually done it so far. And so we really tell our instructors to have those open and honest conversations with you. If you're really behind, if you're struggling too much, maybe actually you should revisit what you want to accomplish and what you want to do with the bootcamp. And sometimes it's as simple as taking a break. We actually offer you to pause your bootcamp and resume the month later. Sometimes it's related to family challenges. You really don't have the time that month and things like that. So Mario, the difference between front end and full stack is one module, and it's the Node.js Express, and MongoDB module. How do you continue your portfolio while looking for a job? By working on it every day. So it's not how, it's do it. You have to continue your portfolio while looking for a job. One thing that interviewers will seek and will look into your portfolio project is, did you stop working on it the day your bootcamp ended? Or did you continue to do check-ins regularly every day? Because that's going to really show passion and commitment. If you stop all learning the day you receive a certificate from Nucamp saying you're done with the bootcamp, you are actually setting yourself for failure. This industry never actually will force you to stay committed and continue to learn and continue to practice. And so if you think that once you have the certificate in hand, you can stop everything and go to do the interviews, you're actually mistaken. You have to continue working on it until you get a job. And while on the job, you continue to learn. Yeah, Luke, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's hard to do real bad on an assignment if you put in the effort. So hope you will all do. Rich, any specific resource recommended until August? Any course on Udemy that will help you with JavaScript is recommended. Same for YouTube. At the end of the day, when students are struggling, they're actually starting to struggle on JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, and advanced JavaScript. And so anything that can help you understand functions, data structure, variables, loops, all those fundamentals of programming that actually works for JavaScript or any other language will really help you get ahead. Yeah, Mario, you can certainly take the web development bootcamp regardless of the outcome of the exam. We tell students that you may actually want to get into that field, but Nucamp may not be the formula or the approach that works for you, right? Some people, for example, if you are unemployed or if you actually can spend 10 hours a day learning, well, maybe a full-time bootcamp will be more appropriate for you because you're going to be able to cram through the content. Our bootcamp is really, really designed for people who have a daily job and can only spend 1 to 3 hours a day. And so they appreciate that we keep that pace. Someone who has 10 hours a day to learn will actually go through a week of content in a day and then wonder what to do next, for example. So starting with web development fundamentals can actually have you check if Nucamp is actually the right bootcamp for you as well. Gab, great question. In what ways will one of these bootcamp be a good supplement to a computer programming degree? So I was once in front of a promotion of computer science graduates. They were actually going to graduate a month later. And I asked them, how many of you now know how to build a website? And no hands went up. Computer science and computer programming degrees are very, very important. I have one, and it's going to keep you, it's going to be with you for the rest of your career because it's really teaching you the fundamentals. And you're going to be able to build on that in many directions. What it doesn't give you is actually the practicality of modern languages. Like most of computer programming degrees, I've learned Java. Java is still used in the industry, but not that much. JavaScript is the #1 language, not Java, or Python. And many of them actually don't know how to build a website or have never been using cloud services either. And so really, the bootcamp gives you that practicality of taking everything great that you've learned during your computer science degree and applying that in something very practical that could make you turn you into an entrepreneur, I will say. Yeah, Luke, Udemy has great cheap courses. And so you could definitely get started there. And if you feel like you can stay the course, I actually had a student on the phone recently who was like, I feel like I can learn online on my own. I have 10 hours a day in front of me to do that. And he was really realizing that that pace that we offer with Nucamp wasn't for him. And so for that person, maybe learning, 10 hours a day on Udemy was the right thing to do. I did make a bet with him, though, that he will come back to us in 2 months, realizing that 2 months later, everything didn't add up to much, but we'll see. Jason, focusing on HTML and CSS is still going to be helpful. Definitely. The connection point, I will say, with JavaScript is when you dig into manipulation of what we call the DOM, Document Object Model. All the modern frameworks are really about manipulation of the DOM. And so seek for that. JavaScript, jQuery to some extent, although it's a little bit old, but really anything that helps you bring together that gap between HTML, CSS, and the manipulation of those through JavaScript. All right, so we have 3 minutes left. I'm going to continue to answer your questions. I also encourage you, if you want to hear from us in that format, hopefully we'll have a much better experience in a month. We're going to do that again in a month. But let's actually continue. And by the way, don't forget, we're still active on YouTube. We publish testimonials once in a while. So like us, to like our channel. Let me look at more of your questions now. Lots of people who have registered for early August. This is great. Really well, looking forward to getting started with all of you. I remember seeing something about Vue. Okay, Rich had a question around Vue.js. So we don't teach Vue.js. It's a great framework, actually library. When you think about the JavaScript frameworks that are out there, there's really 3 that are at the top. React is number 1. Angular historically is number 2. And then Vue is growing as well. Vue is number 3. We just don't focus on it. Once you learn React, that knowledge is very portable to Vue. That's what I will say. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's anything behind that question, Rich, if there's some follow-up that you wanted to make, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. Thanks, Mario, for watching all the videos. Luis, anything that's free where you can learn JavaScript, I will say go ahead, as long as it's a highly rated course. So yes, if you want to learn, I mean, go ahead, and we hope to see you in August with the right support. Any special programs that I should download before the camp? You can certainly play around Visual Studio Code. It's the IDE, which is really the environment where you will be coding in the bootcamp. So Visual Studio Code is what we use. You can look it up, install it, and see what's up with it. I don't really have a book in mind. I don't have a good book. I don't know WebStorm, Rich. In terms of laptops, Mario, so 13, I mean, the size of the screen doesn't really matter that much. What matters is going to be the CPU and the memory. what we say is anything that you will have purchased recently in the last 3 years that will have costed around $500 if it's a PC laptop will work. The requirements are quite low until you reach the Node.js module, because that's when you start to run a server as well on your laptop, including MongoDB, the database engine. And so that's really when you want to have a decent laptop with 8 to 6 gigabytes of memory, i3 or i5, actually preferably i5, Intel CPU. So yeah, SSD will be perfect. Yes, especially again, as I said, the last module, Node.js, Express, and MongoDB, which will be about storing data, will make will make a great use of your SSD. Yeah, Rich, there's a ton of IDEs out there. We use Visual Studio Code. It also has a nice sharing feature that our instructors actually are using to help you out during the week. So that's one of the reasons why we use Visual Studio. Hey guys, so we are on time, 6 p.m. I apologize for the challenges during the webcast. We'll fix that for the next one. We really look forward to seeing you in our bootcamp in August. Don't hesitate to reach out online. We have agents online. These are not bots. These are real agents in our team that will answer your questions. Email us at info@nucamp.co as well, and we'll get back to you. Again, thank you very much. Sorry for the technical issues, and hope to see you soon in our bootcamps. Take care.